Okay guys, hi and welcome to this video on drawing in Photoshop. Now I must stress it's not easy. It takes a little bit of getting used to. It takes a little bit of practice. I'm going to show you some very simple moves, and then really it's all down to your imagination and where you want to take it and what you want to do with it. Obviously you need inspiration, and for this I've used an old tape rule, and I've just scanned it. I'll show you the tape rule here. I've just scanned it, and I've got this picture on screen that you can see. And you could photograph it with your phone or anything really, and just bring it in. You could find something on the internet, just kind of grab a picture. What we're talking about here is surface pattern and texture, and in order to make a logo, which most logos are quite simple, we just want simple shapes. We want to be able to show in our assignment that we can do that. So you want to do screenshots along the way as you follow this tutorial, and basically click in to say what you did. Now we're going to use the pen tool in Photoshop, so there are two things I want to do. In view, I want to show my grid, because we're going to use the grid to line things up. You'll get what I mean in a minute. But the next thing we're going to use is the pen tool, which if you look over here, we've got a load of options. We've got freeform pen tool, curvature tool, and basically you probably need to experiment with those as you go. But I'm just going to use the basic pen tool for now, and I'm just going to draw a line around this image and just click in around the image to get the shape of this. I don't know what you call the shape, kind of a curved object that's in the background. Now I'm only using this to get an idea of what it is I want to do. I don't want to copy this image. I just want the ideas, the shapes, to stimulate a logo. So now I've got this shape over here, as you can see. I can turn the other thing off, it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, these lines are all kind of like free form, and they're going to go all over the place. When I pull these bars, it changes the shape of the line. And these are tools that with experience and a lot of time and effort, you'll kind of learn. Oh God, I've just added another. You can see we're going to go all over the place. Now, if you start doing that, you're going to get really frustrated, and you're not going to be happy with what you're producing. Because you need to learn that if you use the Shift key and the keyboard commands, the Alt key, you can move these lines around and therefore change the effect of the shape and the way the shape works. So, or any of the shapes, in fact, that you draw, and it can actually be quite interesting. So this is getting sort of abstract and a bit sort of all out of the blue, and we're just adding points all the time. Whenever we put the pen in, we're adding points. Now, if I click on the pen tool again and just come down to convert a point, then that's the point at which I can draw and change these lines to change the way the shape works. And again, it's quite complex, and you need to get more control. So let's not worry about that. Let's go and click off that, and let's click off that really, because it's not really going to help us, but it shows you how the pen tool works. So let's click off that again, and let's just delete those two layers. I'll go and delete the layer. Yes, and then delete the layer again. Okay, so I'm using the grid to give me an idea of what I want to do in terms of the shape. So using my zoom tool, I'm going to zoom right in on this image. Now really it's that shape I'm trying to create, but to do it I'm going to use the grid. So I'm going to go back to my pen tool and go in here and click on pen tool. Now what I'm going to do is, using the grid, I'm going to go at this point here. If I hold the Shift key down and hold the Shift key down and pull over to this point, I get a nice straight line. Okay, now if I go hold the Shift key down and click in here, I get the line joining up again from there. And if I had the fill tool if I had fill in up here clicked on, it would fill it with black. Now I don't want that, I want just the line. So if I go Command Z to undo, click on here, so click back on there to just give us the line again. Now I don't want that line from there to there, so if I click on it and delete that anchor point, I lose that line. So I don't actually want that, so if I'm going to just delete that point and I've got that line there. Okay, so we've got the grid, we've got the basic idea of the shape that we want, and we want to draw around it. Now you've got to be really careful. The drawing tool will go all over the place if you don't limit yourself in terms of the way that you use it. So with the pencil selected, I'm just going to use the ordinary pen tool there, and I'm going to just go using these lines. I'm going to go roughly there. I'm going to come down to here and click on that point. Now if I hold the shift key down, it will give me a perfect straight line. Go to the next point, which is there, and again using that point there, I'm going to join up there. Now if I was to come across here and join it, you can see that it turns into a little hole there. There's a little circle. That means that both points are going to meet. I could click there and then it would fill the box, and then I wouldn't have the path that I've got here. Okay, so now we've got this curvature that's at the top. So to do that, looking at this, I'm going to use our center line. So I need to count these in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So roughly with 16, it's going to be roughly there will be our middle. So let's help ourselves out with this. So if we go into view and show rulers, we can pull a guide in, which is going to give us the center of these 2 points that we've got on screen. So that's roughly the center. I think that will do us for our center point. Now what I want to do here is draw a curve line, which is going to represent the Rollerson effect. So to do that, what I want to do is create a line that is perfectly straight. Sorry, I'll undo that one. I don't want to do that because I want a new pen. So I'm going to go into here, there, and go to our center line, hold the shift key, and then I'm going to go to there. Now you can see what I've done is I've created a point here, which is going to allow me to create this curve. So to do that, what I'm going to do is holding the shift key, I'm going to pull that up. What I want to do is I'm going to keep it completely in there, and I'm going to pull it up till I get my arch. So what I've done is effectively created my arch, which hopefully is going to sit in the middle. So you can see now I can delete that anchor point. I don't know how I made that up. I've made that by accident. So if I go into here and go into convert point and click on that, I can delete that anchor point, and I've just got that straight line. So you can see it's not easy, but what I've got now is 2 shapes that I can work with. Now if I turn off this background image altogether now, you can see roughly the kind of shape we've got, and we've got also we show our anchor points. If we go back into it, you can see these lines here, which are not sort of going off at an angle, which means our curve is going off at an angle. So what we want to do is bring them in so they're straight. Now you can see how these actually start to do their job in a more controlled manner. So if I pull that up to that point in the grid, we know that that line and everything about it is pretty much perfect until we start messing around with the shapes elsewhere. So if we do make a mistake like that, we can go Command Z and undo, and make sure that we just get control over that anchor point to where we want to be. So what I want to do now is be able to pull this down, the whole line, and pull it down till it joins up with these 2 points. Now you can see I get these pink lines come up, and I'm just going to join it up. You can see that we're slightly out, so what we want to do is to pull this line back over. So using so that's it. To move this, to get it lined up completely, hold the Command key on the keyboard and drop it right on that line. And now that will allow you to line it up and drop it on that line. So I'm going to blow this right up so I can see exactly where I'm going with the line. So control key, move it up, drop it in the center, and you can see exactly where I'm going. If I go over to the other side and hold the shift key again and just pull that in. Now hopefully the other side hasn't moved. Nope, it hasn't. So we go back into our and zoom out, and there is our shape. We've got a slight discrepancy here if we go back into this tool here, and that these have sort of moved off just a little bit. Well, let's undo that. I'm going to keep it even in this box here. I'm going to type 100. Sorry, delete 100. Okay, and let's see what happens when we click on this line on the, so highlight that shape, and in there we're going to take 100, delete that again and go 100. Okay, so now that's interesting because it's kind of gone outside. I wasn't expecting it to do that. I was expecting it to do 100 right where it was. Now going back into the tools up here, we can pull that in, but I actually quite like the way that that's done that. I think that's interesting. It's gonna sort of help with my logo a little bit, I think. But let's look what we can do with the stroke. Now we've got the colors that we could use. We've got our CYMK, which if we were going to print, it would be those kind of colors that we'd probably be looking at. And if we were going to give the print codes to the printer to make sure that these colors were exactly the same corporate colors, we could give them the numbers the same way as you go and get your paint mixed in B&Q. We could give them the numbers, and then they know the exact color to put it through the printing press to make the things work. Okay, so I'm kind of okay, we've got the idea. Our ideas come from this shape here. We've now got a basic, very simple shape to make a logo. How do we make it more interesting?